The Whispering Bridge people in town spoke of the legend, but no one dared test it, at least not until tonight. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an amber glow over the mist-laden valley, Carolyn stood at the entrance of the bridge. The ancient wooden planks creaked beneath her as she took the first tentative step. A chill clung to the air, though it was midsummer. They say the whispers begin when you reach the middle. Caroline's heart hammered as she edged forward, each step swallowed by silence, save for the rhythmic groaning of the bridge swaying above the dark water. Halfway across, she heard it. A voice, barely more than a breath, curled through the wind. It wasn't just one voice, it was many, each one a whisper, twisting around her ears, tangled like smoke in the evening air. She strained to catch the words, unsure if they were external or merely in her mind. You will find what you seek, but not as you expect. Carolyn stopped. What did she seek? The answer felt distant, unknowable until now. She pressed forward, determined. The whispers grew louder. Some sounded pleading, some warned in hushed urgency. The final steps felt heavier. She knew that once she crossed, she couldn't go back, not just physically, but mentally. With one last stride, Carolyn reached the other side. The voices ceased. And then, in the deepest part of her mind, she understood. Not all whispers tell you good secrets. Carolyn steadied herself, waiting for the echoes of the bridge to fade. The whispers had stopped, but their words remained, curling in the corners of her mind. You will find what you seek, but not as you expect. At first, the meaning eluded her. But then a realization crept in like a shadow. She had come to the bridge, seeking direction, yearning for an answer about her future. Would she succeed? Would she find love? Would she ever truly belong? Now, standing on the other side, she understood. The secret the whispers had revealed wasn't about what she would find. It was about how she would find it. Life wouldn't hand her answers wrapped neatly in certainty. There would be twists she wouldn't see coming, victories disguised as losses, and revelations buried in moments she almost overlooked. A gust of wind swept through the trees, carrying an unsettling calm. Carolyn looked back at the bridge, its silhouette stretching into the deepening dusk. She had crossed. The whispers had spoken, and now the future was waiting. Carolyn held her breath, the weight of the whispers still pressing against her mind. The bridge was silent now, but the air felt charged, like something unseen had shifted. Then she saw it. A figure stood just beyond the trees, barely visible in the dim light. Not a person, not exactly. More like a presence, waiting at the edge of the path, where the last rays of twilight bled into the darkness. You will find what you seek, but not as you expect. Caroline's pulse quickened. Was this what the whispers had meant? Had she been led to something she never thought she'd find? The figure didn't move. It didn't speak. But something about it felt familiar, like an echo from a dream she couldn't quite remember. Was it an omen? A guardian? A warning? She stepped forward, the wooden planks of the bridge groaning beneath her weight. Her heart hammered against her ribs. And then, just as she reached the figure, it vanished. A gust of wind rippled through the trees, scattering leaves at her feet. Carolyn looked down, and in the dirt, there was a message, not carved, not written, but formed, as though the earth itself had shaped the words. You were never supposed to come here. Carolyn froze, staring at the words etched into the earth. You were never supposed to come here. The wind died. The trees stood unnaturally still. The bridge behind her no longer creaked. Then something shifted. The world flickered like a candle struggling against the breeze. The forest dimmed, but not into night, into something else entirely. The colors dulled. The air thickened. Carolyn blinked hard, but the world refused to return to normal. And then she saw it. The bridge was gone. Not broken, not collapsed, just gone, as if it had never existed. Her heart lurched as she spun around, scanning the landscape. The trees weren't trees anymore. They were shadows, stretched impossibly tall, their shapes writhing like things trying to escape their own forms. She backed away, pulse pounding. This wasn't just a warning. This was a trap. You will find what you seek, but not as you expect. She had thought the whispers were telling her about her future, but what if they had been speaking about something else? What if the secret they had revealed wasn't about what she would find, but what had found her? The world flickered again. The shadows stepped closer, and Carolyn realized she wasn't leaving this place. Not the way she came. The Whispering Bridge. Part 2. The shadows pressed in, shifting like ink spilled across the world. Caroline's breath hitched. She could feel them watching, waiting. The bridge was gone, and with it, her way back. Then the whispers returned. Not as gentle murmurs carried by the wind, but voices overlapping, urgent. Run. She didn't hesitate. Carolyn sprinted through the twisting forest, her pulse hammering in her ears. But the ground beneath her changed. Every step forward sent her deeper, farther into a space that didn't follow the rules of the world she knew. The trees melted into corridors. The air grew thick with an unfamiliar scent, one not of earth or wood, but of something old, something watching. She stumbled, catching herself against the wall. A wall, no stone. A tunnel stretched before her, smooth as though carved long ago. Was this where the bridge had led her? You were never supposed to come here, and yet here she was. In the dim light ahead, a figure stood waiting. This time, it didn't vanish. It smiled. The Whispering Bridge, Part 3. The figure stepped forward, its smile unsettlingly calm. You were never supposed to come here, it said, voice smooth as flowing water. And yet, here you are. Carolyn clenched her fists, forcing herself to stand her ground. What is this place? The figure tilted its head, watching her with something like amusement. You call it a bridge, it murmured, but it is a door. A door? Carolyn glanced behind her, the twisting corridor, the shadows that had led her here. Was it all part of something much older than just a simple legend? You crossed it, seeking answers, the figure continued. Most turn back before they finish. Carolyn felt her stomach tighten. What happens to those who don't? The figure's smile widened. They learn. A chill swept down her spine. Learn what? She whispered. The walls trembled as if something underneath them was breathing. The air thickened, pressing against her skin. You will find what you seek. The voice was no longer just the figures. It was the whispers, curling through the air, speaking as one, but not as you expect. Caroline's pulse pounded. The truth was here, waiting, watching. And now there was no turning back.